Hey everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Ticket Stubs and Popcorn. I am Frank.
And I'm Peter.
It's Peter, and today we're going to be talking about Susan Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon.
She's wonderful.
She's really wonderful. So
I got a question for you before we get
ask
too
them
far.
to like and subscribe before you just like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Peter's going to ask me a question. Go ahead.
Join us too on Instagram and Facebook, and I got this question for you.
All right.
Okay, let's just put it under the umbrella: cinematic siblings. Not talking real life relations. We're just
All right.
talking.
So it takes the Cusacks out of it.
You got it.
So
We're
folks
talking about-
who could be, or
they could be, or maybe a movie you've seen and
it
you
just doesn't
like
seem
you
to work.
like the fact
Or
that
it does
they
work.
are, or it doesn't work,
Okay.
and you go.
All right, cool. All
Something
right,
like
I have
that.
a way that I'm going to go with that. All right, that's
cinematic siblings. Let's think
that's
about that, and
perfectly fine.
we can revisit
All right,
this
cool. All right.
toward the end.
Good. I'm going to start off with
Susan
Susan Sarandon.
Oh, please do.
Probably my first and one of my top three, which is kind of how we do this thing.
Yep.
Rocky Horror Picture Show. You know, she gets to sing.
Yeah.
She gets to dance. She gets to be in a really crazy movie
Yep.
that no one thought was going to be a thing.
How could it be a thing, right?
It really,
it
yeah,
is.
how could it be? And then it, I mean, talk about a cult following. Like, if this is a cult movie, and quite frankly, you had to experience it the right
Oh yeah.
way. I think that even before it got to be the midnight movie cult status thing,
Yeah.
before that, you weren't experiencing the right way. If you went and saw that, if you just went to a movie theater, sat down, watched that movie,
Oh yeah.
totally different experience.
You'd have to go with an army of friends.
You'd have to
And
go.
you'd be there with a bunch of other people who are in their own little groups.
Right.
And
You go with a
everybody-
whole bunch of friends. You went to a midnight show in Harvard Square.
That one there's
And-
true audience participation.
Yes, and that's
Unbelievable.
what made it what it is
As a
today.
matter of fact, could you imagine? I mean, you imagine sitting home alone. Let's just say having it on DVD or
You can't watch.
getting it on the
Nope,
on your
no.
on your channel and go, oh look, I can see this and it won't cost me. I'll watch it. Could you imagine somebody sitting there trying to make sense of the movie, trying to enjoy it, all by themselves, just sitting there? I would think, wow. If first of all, if you don't know what's going on, you can't watch the movie.
Well, the thing is, though, it's not a great movie.
No,
It's not a great movie.
it's what the people have brought back
It's-
to it.
Exactly. And like I said, even now, if they do a midnight show of it, it's not the same.
No,
It's not the
Well,
same. Well, no.
yeah.
I would
I
argue
haven't seen it in a theater in a while.
this is gonna be like real, like I sound like an old man thing
because
no,
you do.
because I do. No, but it's one of those things and that back when. Okay, so back in the day, folks, just to give you a little history lesson, you would need to gear up to go to this movie.
Yes.
You needed to go and buy toast.
You had to
needed
make toast.
make toast. You can't really buy toast.
You buy bread.
So you needed
and
to
use-
make bread.
It's the
cut
greatest
it,
thing since
and then
sliced
bake
bread,
it-
really.
yeah.
And then you put
So
it in a toaster.
you had to get a whole bunch of stuff that you would bring to this movie, and that, quite
Rice,
frankly, you would throw
umbrella, squirt
plastic
guns.
spoons.
Oh my God, I
you know.
haven't. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
been
There was a
forever.
shopping list you needed to go and watch this movie.
Yes.
All right, and you would go with your friends, and always a midnight show.
And it was word of mouth too. Like you would increase your little group by one or two each time you went to see it. Oh,
Yeah.
let's drag
We gotta go
so-and-so.
see this. We gotta go
You've
do this
never
thing.
seen it. You got to come.
You
with
gotta
us.
come with us. And
Yeah.
it was where are they playing it? And in my particular case, you had to go to the that little cinema down that little tiny street that I can't remember the name of because I never needed to know the name of it. All I needed to know is that you came out and you walked down that little tiny street in Harvard Square, and you went in at a midnight show and you threw stuff and you got stuff thrown at you and you got wet and
the other thing that sticks in my mind is you would have your pat response is ready. You're just
Yeah,
waiting for
exactly.
scenes, blah, blah, blah. And then once in a while, it did happen. It didn't happen often. Once in a while, you'd be sitting there and you're ready for, that scene to come up. So you could give that, there'd be that little pause. You could give that line. And then, a few seconds before, there's like another scene and somebody else would say a line and you'd go, oh my God, that was funny. And I never heard that one before.
And then
that one actually sounded
that
new.
becomes part of it. And it was true audience participation. There was no internet back then. And again, I'm not one of these, back in my day, things were better, because they weren't necessarily better. They were just different. And
so Frank would get into the horseless carriage.
So no, but
it
was a wonderful experience. It was a
motion
lot of
picture
fun.
house. You saw that.
It was just a lot of fun to do with a bunch of friends. And even now, like as you got into like the 90s and early 2000s, you started hearing, when you get to an age where you're not going anymore, okay? Because you're just older, your life is different.
I can't tell you the last time I've actually gone.
But
and see
you started
with the group. I can't tell you.
They started like you can't bring your lighters. You can't light a thing. And then theaters would start to have they would sell you like a bag of sort of approved things that you could use to throw and whatever. So you had the little kit. And I understand from a theater's point of view.
I never experienced that.
I've never been there to get a kit, but I talked to then you start talking to younger people who are going just like, we had to buy this kit. They wouldn't let us bring in a bunch of stuff. It's just like, well, that seems like bullshit. So it really is something that, and as you were saying before, you can't be flicking through Netflix and go, oh, watch Rocky Horror Picture Show, because it's not the same.
No.
To watch that movie is, I don't know, that way lies madness. You can't really. You can follow the story. It's just
right. It's just
not as much fun.
But the other thing is, it's like there's this. We talked at some point. We talked about Ryan Reynolds and his performances. He brings this unbridled joy sometimes. This is a movie where the audience brings this unbridled joy, and they just leaping in the thing, and you know what I mean? It's just a jump to the left. It is, and all of a sudden, everybody is just dancing in the aisles.
And what's
just phenomenal.
And when there were lines that you say, and you learn the lines, and just makes it more fun when you go back. And just to sort of pull it back to Susan Sarandon.
I forgot.
I know, right? Sarandon? She's young, and she gets to sing and dance and she's fantastic in it. Everybody's fantastic.
Touch it.
Right.
I want to be dirty.
It's just her performance is so great. She's young, she's naive, and but she's so wide. She's got that great face where she can be kind of wide-eyed and just uncertain as to what's happening. And just it's a great performance. She's a great character, and she just really enhances what, under the right circumstances, is a really, really fun movie. I would love to hear down in the comments, folks, younger folks now, who how is this movie? I doubt it's even still a thing. I think the closest the closest I've sort of come with newer movies now is, I think, when we went to go see
The Room.
And there was what I remember about this is
it's not as much, but it is.
I mean, it's definitely a quotable movie.
Yeah.
And audiences have tried to sort of get that going, and there was, there was one guy. It does have some traction. Yeah. But there was one guy I remember who kept, I don't even remember what the line was, but you almost wanted to say, dude, it's like, fetch, you're not going to make fetch happen. It's not going to work. It was just kind of, there's nothing like that now. And if there is, I want to hear about it.
The other thing was that this movie came out. When did it come out? 76 maybe?
I don't even know when it really came out, because I mean really saw it.
But anyway, I was in high school 1976, and it just starting. So like 77, it was like getting a lot of word of mouth that this is what people are doing. So all through high school and college, I can't tell you how many times I'd seen it, but it was this, it was a big deal. But the same people tried to catch lightning twice in a bottle with shock treatment, and they made it with the hopes that people would be able to do it again. But so they're like these weird pauses, like waiting for the audience.
Yeah.
And so they tried, and
You
that
can't-
never
there's
worked.
You can't make
It was
that
totally
happen.
organic. It just
So, yeah.
happened on its own.
And there's nothing now, and I don't think that there's such an environment now that can happen. There's no one. You can't go to movie theaters anymore, COVID. But
Yeah.
that sort of group thing, that group experience,
It's
doesn't
such a
really
weird
happening.
phenomenon.
Yeah,
It doesn't
so-
just
and
happen.
there isn't a movie, another movie that I can think of that does that. So that's my
So
first.
you
Susan
enjoyed
Sarandon
Susan Sarandon in that
in
one.
that. Love her
Great
in
pick.
that.
I'm glad you picked it because I wanted to pick it, but I had others and it didn't make the list.
My next one is Bernard and Doris.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I like that
she
one,
plays Doris Duke,
right.
and Ray Fiennes plays her butler Bernard, and they've got such an interesting
Yeah,
relationship.
Yeah.
And, obviously based on a true story. Doris Duke is a real person. They're both real people, and it's one of those
fabulously
movies.
wealthy.
Yeah, ridiculously wealthy, and their sort of blooming friendship and her. There's one scene that just seals it for me as one of my favorite Susan Sarandon movies, is where they've been together for years. He's been working for her for years, and she's made like sexual advances toward him, and he's rebuffed them. It's just like, I'm gay.
Yeah.
There's one point where he's accused of sort of being in this for to try and scam her in some way.
Right.
And at one point, she just asks him. They're like up late one night chatting, I think over orchids, and they have this conversation, and I think it's one of the ones where there's like some sexual tension hanging in the air, and she asks him like, what do you want from me? And it's just dead quiet.
Yeah.
And it was he just goes, I just want to take care of you, and that it's genuine, and it's not just employee to employer.
Right.
It is like he's genuinely interested in being her
In
friend
her and her
caretaker,
well-being.
and her well-being, and he genuinely cares. And then he's fighting with his own alcoholic demons and stuff like that. But she plays the sort of harsh rich lady in the beginning, and she doesn't necessarily soften to everybody, but she like their relationship softens so that by the end they are they're genuinely friends.
Yeah.
She has a stroke and she has her medical issues, and she passes away, but she cares about him as much as he cares about her, and it's not sexual. It can't be sexual,
Right.
but there's just a genuine bond there.
It's a love between two human beings.
Yeah,
Respect and a love.
And it's just really it's a wonderful performance by her. She's just so she's usually sort of like I don't know, you think of her in like Thelma and Louise, and she's kind of like a hard ass kind of. She's very seldom soft, I guess is a better way to say it. She's a dead man walking. She's very like
when she's in this movie, it's interesting because we've talked about this before about biopics, and like you're representing a real person, in this case a 20th century person on the screen. She traveled in this rarefied air because of her money, so she knew there are a lot of people, other rich people or famous people, knew her, so it's still interesting. How do you play it? But here was a woman in real life she was an attractive woman. She was unimaginably wealthy, and she
Hundreds
was
of
at a
millions.
very early age too.
Yeah.
When her father died, her father was much older. When he died, she was very young. I don't mean like 4 years old, but
No,
like
she was
20 years
yeah.
old maybe. And so I think she always, I am not positive, it's my recollection that she always had to be well guarded in life.
Yeah.
Are these people only interested in me because of my money? And I think that was something that, and so she does have a little edge to her, especially
exactly.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's always something it was like a defense mechanism, if you will, that she always had. So
great performance. My next one is Witches of Eastwick.
okay, another fun one.
Another fun one. I'd forgotten how much fun that movie is. I was kind of thinking about different roles, and I'm just like, yeah, let me rewatch Witches of Eastwick. And it was great because
it's a good cast.
Because I rewatched it after I rewatched Bernard and Doris, so I needed something that was a little less, of a bummer. So she's kind of a tightly wound, band teacher in a small New England town, and she opens up quite a bit. She really, her inhibitions get completely shut down when Jack Nicholson gets to town. And it's a lot of fun. Again, there's always, in these movies, there's always like that one little, that one snapshot in what's a great performance in a particular movie. And in Witches of Eastwick, for me, it's when she and Jack Nicholson are playing together. She's playing a cello and he's playing a violin, and they're like going at it together, and she's just like really at the cello, and it becomes sexual, and it's just such an intense scene, and you see like her hair comes out of the bun, and she's just kind of losing it, and from that moment on, she's a changed woman. From there it goes, her hair's super red, and it's curly, and it's wild, and that's like her change in the movie, and she's just, it's fantastic to see her go from button down New England school marm to this, like, wearing the hot red shoes and the little cute ankle socks in the supermarket, and the other housewives are giving her crap, and but yeah, it's really, really very fun. The tennis scene in that movie is, find it on YouTube if you haven't watched the movie in a while. But the tennis scene on its own is just it's classic. It's such a fantastic performance. She's so great, so great.
Excellent.
So a lot of great people in there. So
just take this moment to tell people.
Tell them, man. Don't tell me.
I think you
tell
should.
them. I have already liked and subscribed.
Please like and subscribe. Love to hear comments, share, and please also check us out.
Want to buy a shirt? Want to get a shirt? We got shirts. We got shirts. We got hoodies. This is my Carnival Barker voice. We got shirts. We got hoodies. We got cups and stuff. I threw the link for merch if you're so interested in the what do you call it? Down in the comments there. So down in the description. So check that out. It's,
also
nice.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Nice,
and so, if you want one for yourself, because you probably don't want the one that he's wearing right now.
Why not? You don't want this one. No.
But
so Susan Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon.
How many did we do? Did we overlap?
Let me just say this is an actor with a long and wonderful career.
Yeah.
And because of it, there were so many movies to consider, to pick from, and because of that, we don't have any overlap.
Okay.
And I kind of like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What do you got?
All right. I think one of the finest acting performances, not just of her career, but of anybody's career, I just really love her performance in Dead Man Walking. Um, it's a great performance by Sean Penn.
Yeah.
But it takes a very serious issue, and it doesn't matter where you fall on this side. It takes a very serious issue of capital punishment, and she is a Roman Catholic nun, and her involvement is because, according to the movie, anybody on death row can have a spiritual advisor. So the Sean Penn character hears about this, and he reaches out to the Sister Helen, and it was played by Susan Sarandon. And so it takes this this deep understanding, I think, on her character's part, because it's not cut and dry. It's not black and white. There's so many things going on, and she is just trying to live her faith, but also trying to help this person who may or may not be guilty of a vile crime. There's a rape and a murder involved, and so she meets him and agrees to become his spiritual advisor. And so her job isn't necessarily to try to convince other people to either commute the sentence or to give him, life imprisonment as opposed to the death penalty, because he has been sentenced to death. It's down in Louisiana, and so they still had at the time, maybe they still do, I don't know, the death penalty might still be in effect. But so she doesn't go into, and she does try, because he asks her if she can write, to the powers to be to get the sentence commuted. Well, it doesn't get commuted, so now her job is that she needs to give him guidance. But because of that, the families of the victims are now hurt. But because she is the way she is, she reaches out to them anyway. Yeah. She wants to hear their story. This is all just making her job tougher. It's more emotional. And she just plays it straight all the time. There's emotion, there's roller coaster. Other people's perception of her now has changed. Why are you protecting this guy? And she goes, I'm not defending him. I'm advising him. Yeah. She's still trying to help him. Then when it gets to the point where there's no turning back, it's this execution is going to happen, and she says, you just got to come to terms with this. Yeah. And then you do find out at the very end that he was lying to her. He was saying that he was innocent. It was the other guy that pulled the trigger and all this stuff.
Spoiler.
And so, but it's just phenomenal. Just phenomenal.
Yeah. She's great.
Just approaching this movie, but approaching that role, you got the feeling that she really not just did research, which I'm sure she did, but she really just got into some soul searching almost, because this character is tremendous. So that was, so she played this role of Sister Helen in Dead Man Walking. So phenomenal. And the movie's based on a book that sister actually wrote. Anyway, and just a wonderful movie, wonderful performance. Can't say enough about that one. Okay, so another movie that I always liked her in is a movie called Atlantic City. And this one came out like 1980, 81, somewhere in there. And her co-star is Burt Lancaster. And at this point, Burt Lancaster's older. He's an older man at
Burt Lancaster's always been old.
Not always, but he's older in this one. And so she comes from Canada, I want to say in the story, but she moves to Atlantic City. And this takes place in a really interesting time because there was a time when before different Native American tribes would get the right to open casinos and for legalized gambling and so forth, there was only one place you could go, and that was Las Vegas, or at least one county, and that was there. And Las Vegas was obviously the showcase of legalized gambling. In the later 70s, New Jersey decides that Atlantic City needed help. They were on the down and outs, and they were going to, so they legalized gambling in Atlantic City. And that was a big thing. And so at this time period, the movie takes place in Atlantic City, and it's filmed at this interesting time period. So there's some big hotels that have already gone up over the last like 1 or 2 years. There's some old, decrepit parts of town, old hotels, old this, that are in that old boardwalk thing. Because at one time Atlantic City was like a summertime beach
It was like a
thingy,
boardwalk
thingy,
and
it had its own thing. Yeah. And then later it just started getting decrepit and falling apart. So in this movie we're seeing a little bit of these old things are still up, but the new stuff is coming in, and so they're starting to knock down some of the old stuff. So she moves to Atlantic City to kind of get her experience. She's hoping on getting a job at one of the casinos. But what she's ultimately hoping is that she can learn, card games and the casino business so she could actually move to Monte Carlo. Like leave the country completely and get away and go to Monte Carlo. So right now she's just moved, so she hasn't gotten into like the gambling part or learning the business yet. She's actually like a seafood restaurant waitress is what it is. So she's working doing that thing. But she's kind of had like a rough life. She's too nice. She's too trusting, and she has like a loser for an ex-husband who, I don't know if he tracks her down, but he ends up meeting up with her again in Atlantic City, and he's a drug dealer, and this guy has left her years before, and he's actually shacking up with her sister, gotten her pregnant, and then they both try to move in with her in Atlantic City. Everybody, just tries to take advantage of her good nature.
So it's not like a funny Susan Sarandon movie.
No, it's not a funny Susan Sarandon movie, but it's a good one.
Sounds depressing as hell.
It's got some heart, and
What's her like?
It's got some twist in there toward the end. The Burt Lancaster character is a little different. He's kind of like a second-rate gangster, I guess we'd call him, but he's not successful, but he's been in Atlantic City doing his little shtick for 50 years or something. And he just likes her. He takes care of an older woman who lives in, they all live in the same old ramshackle hotel. And but ultimately they become friends, Burt Lancaster and Susan Sarandon, and he tries in his own way to help her. It's a nice story. I like it. She's very tender. She's got
what's her character like?
She's trusting. She's caring.
I don't know this movie.
She's got a good heart. It's a good movie. I remember seeing it when it came out, and then I've seen it a couple times since. But Atlantic City, it's a good one. It's a good performance by her. There's other things going on, but involving on the gangster side, maybe a little drug dealing, this sort of thing. But she just wants to maybe escape a little bit of this past, these people who are trying to take advantage of her, drag her
Yeah.
down a little bit, that sort of thing. And wonderful movie.
Is she like kind of? I don't know the movie, so is she kind of like sad sack victim, just trying to claw her way out, or is there something hopeful in her?
No, she's definitely
performance,
hopeful.
or
No. She's definitely a
she's
hopeful
sort of
person, and she's trying to be positive.
Positive.
And she wants out, and she knows that she can do it, but it's going to take some breaks, and it's going to take some thinking. No. She isn't a sad sack.
Okay.
At all, and the people around her some of those people might be, but because she's good natured, and they all kind of like to hang on to her, take advantage of that. So that would be a second movie, Atlantic City. The third one is Bull Durham, which is a baseball movie.
Fun in that.
But what's great about her character is that she loves baseball.
Yeah.
She loves baseball so much
She loves baseball.
that this is a minor league baseball team. So she needs to get the best out of her team. This is what she thinks. This is her religion. She even says,
Yeah.
"This is baseball is my religion."
She picks one
And
player.
so she
to
picks one player to
be
give
their
her
encouragement.
her project, if you will, and she's going to give her time and her love to one player. She picks one player a year, and it's not just for the sexual fulfillment or anything like that. When she's noticed that anytime she picks a player that season, the player does really well, and when the player does well, the team does well. But because it's the nature of a minor league team, there's a good chance the person might. So if the team does well, a person might get promoted, if you will, up to the major leagues or up to a higher thing. So they don't last long anyway in this thing. So it's kind of a fluid situation. So she plays this.
Slut.
This. She plays what?
Slut.
No, don't say
she's
that.
not
She's
a
not
slut.
that at all. She's a poetry loving or poetry reading baseball fan who does occasionally dabble in bondage, I guess, because there's a couple of scenes. A couple of scenes with it, and anyway, so it's with the other two people really. It focuses on is Kevin Costner's character and Tim Robbins' character, and Tim Robbins. I don't know if you met her in this one or if you already knew her. I forget, but anyway, they become a long-term couple in real life.
Yeah,
and,
they've been together forever.
Yeah. And although right now I don't know if they're together.
I really don't care about their
don't know.
personal lives.
Don't know. But anyway. You are mean.
I'm not mean.
Cold-hearted.
Their job is to entertain me, and if they entertain me, they entertain me. Whatever goes on in their
it's terrible.
personal lives, that doesn't
Seriously,
affect me
so
anymore. They want my money for a movie ticket. That's all they care about me.
Wow.
That's all. I'm a movie ticket
I'm shocked. I'm hurt.
dollar sign to them. They don't care about
You're like
my
a ticket
personal
Stubs
life.
and popcorn kind of guy.
That's it. I'm just a
So anyway, so like she's fun loving. Like I said, she just loves. Her main concern is baseball, and she tries to bring along the Tim Robbins character. He's the younger of the two, and which is the reason why Kevin Costner character is there. He's on the way down in his career.
Yeah.
But he's a catcher. And the reason they have him in the movie is because he's gonna help Tim Robbins' character, who is a pitcher who has no control. All speed, power in the arm, but he has no control. The ball just goes wherever he wants to.
Yeah.
And it's Kevin Costner's job is you gotta get this guy under control. And so the two of them are working on that with his character. I just love it.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie. It's this
It is
slice of
quintessential
baseball life.
Yeah,
That's
it's
interesting and it's fun.
It's kind of a required watching for
yeah.
baseball fans.
Yeah, and she's just a fun-loving, in this case, groupie, but she's just a fan, just a big fan of baseball, and she'll do anything to help
In
the
a
team.
weird, I don't want to say matronly way because that makes it weird given all the
Yeah,
sex. So I don't know, maybe I don't know. She's just very
I've always
caring.
I've always loved that
nurturing.
performance.
Yeah,
So
no,
that's
a good one.
good
That's a
one.
good one.
And you know what? Gee, there's a few other ones that are out there that I struggled with not to make the thing. One of them was definitely, and I was so happy that you picked Rocky Horror Picture Show. But there's been other one that
Well,
goes
we should
way
start
back,
doing like
but
an
there's-
honorable mention,
Yeah.
like
But-
because I would throw in Thelma and Louise.
Of course,
Yeah,
and so
because
there's a
it's
bunch of these
iconic.
that just don't, that get really close, but we've limited it to 3. And in her case, kind of like, well, when we did Meryl Streep, you have people who
Oh, there's-
just have this incredible, filmography out there, and it's deep and it's vast, and you go, this.
Oh, yeah, we could do another Susan Sarandon episode, and we would each have 3 different movies.
One other movie that I liked her in, and it's not as old as some of these other ones. Now it's probably getting up there. It's probably 10 years old, maybe. It's a movie called Robot and Frank, and I loved her in that one. The sad thing about Robot and Frank is that's exactly how my mother refers to our channel. Not ticket stubs and
How long
popcorn,
you been?
but
You've been like
Robot and Frank.
you've had from the moment we took Susan Sarandon out of the bucket. You've been
Yeah.
like holding that joke.
I'm
haven't
holding
you?
on to that one. No, my mother is a mean person,
She's
and that's
a terrible person.
and that's
She's
how
so
it
nice.
is.
She's very
you know.
sweet. Anywho,
The good thing is I can say that.
she's never.
I
Gonna
can say that because she'll never see
never
this.
ever.
Although I fear for my life with that woman, but I know she's never going to see it, so I'm safe.
Never
that way.
gonna see it.
Yeah.
What was the question? There was a question about
Yeah, what was the
cinematic
question?
siblings.
Cinematic siblings.
I actually. So what?
Wait a
do
minute,
you-
hang on. Before we do that, you want to recap?
Oh,
our-
yeah, recap.
Because we
So,
actually had 6 different
We actually
movies.
did. So you had Bull Durham, and you had Dead Man Walking,
Yep.
and you had. Don't tell me. I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get it.
It's a location. It's an actual.
Oh, Atlantic City.
Atlantic
Yeah, movie I
City,
had
yeah.
no idea about.
And you had your 3 were Bernard and Doris, and you had the Rocky Horror Picture Show, classic.
Mhm.
And then you had, what was your 3rd one? It wasn't Thelma and Louise. You picked.
No.
Hang on. You're going to be hanging on for a while.
This movie had me under a spell.
Under a Spell, The Witches of Eastwick.
There it is.
Very good.
Woo!
Very good.
Anyway,
Yes.
um,
Oh, yeah. I
You-
do
you
have
had
a
a
question
question.
about cinematic siblings.
Cinematic siblings. You know, it's really kind of funny. When I was rewatch, funny you asked this. When I was rewatching Witches of Eastwick, I thought Michelle Pfeiffer's performance really, really reminded me of someone, and I couldn't think of who. But then it hit me, and then it sort of dovetails into your question, Heather Graham. So I could picture
Oh,
like
yeah.
a Michelle Pfeiffer, Heather Graham sistering up kind of thing. I could picture them playing siblings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something. That's going to be the answer to your question.
Okay. Well, I got to be honest. In speaking of Susan Sarandon, there was a one of many remakes of Little Women. The movie Little from the novel,
Yeah.
but the movie Little Women, there's been a lot of them. There was one, I don't know, the middle '90s maybe, with Susan Sarandon in it, and Winona Ryder's in it. Anyway, so this, there's four daughters, 4 sisters, and 2 of them I remember thinking, oh, these two actually do look a little alike and actually could be sisters at this age.
Okay.
Claire Danes and Kirsten Dunst. At
Okay.
that point,
Yeah,
they
I can
actually
see that.
look a little like.
Yeah.
One's a little older, not much, but
Yeah.
one's. And I
can see
remember
that.
thinking, geez, because a lot of times when the movie may be good, the acting may be great, the roles might be just wonderful,
They
but
just look
you're
alike.
like, why did you pick? And I think of like there's a couple of movies that I think of, but one of them is
Twins.
Splash. Yeah, right. Twins is Splash. So you got Tom Hanks and John Candy, each got some great roles there, but they're brothers, and you're like, really? Tom
See, the
Hanks
thing is, I have no problem
and
with that.
John
I have
Candy.
no
No,
idea.
I'm not saying because it's a comedy, but you're still looking at it and you're going, wow, brothers, huh? Hmm, okay. And the other one that always gets me is this movie has been remade, but the original Sabrina from the 50s, Humphrey Bogart and William Holden. The same sort of thing. Tom Hanks and John Candy, like wonderful roles, wonderful acting, great movie, and you're
See,
like,
I
what? They're brothers? It's like,
yeah,
who
buy
came
it.
up with that one? I
buy
know
it.
I know why they're cast because they're great, and they were they were big at the time. But
Yeah, there aren't too many that don't work for me. No, I can't think of any that just don't work for me. So anyway,
I
I'm sorry.
just thought of another. I'm just gonna throw this in there.
Go ahead.
It still didn't make my list. I just forgot to mention this when we were talking about Susan Sarandon. Another movie I really enjoyed her in is Enchanted. She's the evil.
yeah.
Whatever comes back. That was another one.
Yeah, she's all right.
We get so many.
She's been around
so
for a
many
very long
movies
time.
we could think of.
So, all right, let's pick another one. Go ahead, you do.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Well, here, will you shake it for
I'll
me
shake
then? Shake it like a Polaroid picture. No, please don't. Okay. All righty. Very good. I'm glad because it's Susan Sarandon, and we still have
Awesome.
so many other
We have
movies
so many
we
others
could
that we
pick
could
from.
do. Who do we have? Oh, okay. That would be cool. Awesome. All right.
You
Great.
keep it over there.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great however long it takes until you see
And
the next
for
one. So,
Robot and Frank,
thanks for
ticket
watching.
stubs and popcorn.
That's what it is. So
Yeah.
a shirt. Remember to like us and subscribe and check us out on Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff. So see you next time. Bye.
Take care.